Okay, we're ready to get started, and I'd like to welcome all of you here to our 1997 baseball banquet. I think you all know the reason why we're here, and that's to celebrate our city championship and also to reward a lot of the players who made it possible.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get started, I do want to introduce some people that were important as far as our successful season goes. Okay, we have the varsity assistant coaches. That's Coach Terry Morgan. Coach Willie Medina. Head JV coach and assistant varsity coach Javier Gonzalez. Athletic director Mr. Otis Yett. Administrator in charge of athletics, that's Dr. Cheryl Barkovich. A few of our other loyal fans, Ms. Sharon Castro. You're representing leadership, Dee Segura. And one of the old-time coaches, Mr. Pete Isaias. And also, some of us did bring our better halves. I'd like to introduce my wife, Aurora Gordon. Okay, and see, Mrs. Medina, I forgot her first name. Kathy Medina. And a guest of Javier Gonzalez, Maria Cuevas. And at this time, I'd like to bring up Coach Morgan, who has a lot of pictures to give out, and we're going to do that before we eat.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. The first thing I want to do is thank several people for their support, some over several years, some for just working with the team this year with the varsity. First, Dr. Barkovich, I want to thank you very much for always being there for us and supporting us and helping us. Miss Castro, you want, in my opinion, I want to say this in front of everybody right now. I'm sure Mr. Gordon's going to reiterate this later. You went way above and beyond in the time that you put in with us. Not only the time that you put in with us, the manner that you put in with us, and of course, no one will ever forget the evening that the coaches and the ball players had. I know it's going to stick in my mind for the rest of my life, and I believe I'm speaking for everyone else who was there. Thank you very much. Another person that I want to always recognize, because I'm in great appreciation for his support and backup. He's the person who hired me to work in this school in 1992, and I'll always be thankful to him. Mr. Otis Yett. Thank you very much, sir. You guys played very well this season, and basically that's the reason you went as far as you did, because of your heart and your desire, and you're refusing to lose. But I have to commend a person that's new to the team this year, and Mr. Medina, I want to point out to you that you did an awful lot for this team, but when you came on and and with the kids, the ball players will understand this, you're being there to call the pitches, to set the defense as you did. I really think to you ball players, I hope that you'll always remember that that was very important there, aside from your manner with the ball players, which was of course A+. I just want to say thank you very much for that. There's one more. Is this working fine like this? There's one more. This person, I've worked with an awful lot of coaches over the last 11 years of coaching. And if there's one thing, and I've told this to him, so he's not going to be surprised to hear it. This is a person who has an awful lot of patience and tolerance and understanding with his ball players. As far as I'm concerned, the way he works with his ball players, talks with them, treats them, it's A+, and it's something for any coach to aspire to. So you guys that played on the team this year, I hope you will never forget the coach that you had, because he's really someone special. Bill Gordon. Throughout the season, I have a friend, Mr. Jim Warren. He's good with the camera, and the ball players, some of the other people up here on the dais are going to be fortunate to reap the rewards of his generosity and expertise. He's good with the camera, and he came to several of our games. Not only did he come and take the pictures, but he certainly came and rooted for our team. I'll never forget Mark Gonzalez when you got that hit down the line in Roosevelt. We'll get to that more later. But Mr. Warren, I want you to know, I noticed you up there in the stands. You were off your feet. You were really there backing us up, and I want you to know that I appreciate that very much. Okay, now we'll get to the pictures. What you have to understand about these photographs, some of these envelopes are full, like a roll full. Some of them only have one picture. But nonetheless, I hope that you'll cherish them, and they'll be important to you for really for the rest of your life. The first person is going to receive, and I'm going in really no particular order for alphabetical or grade or anything like that. I'm going to start off with a young man who came onto our team, and the first time I saw him was at Cal State LA. He's very quiet, but he was helping us out. I really didn't. Mr. Gordon hadn't told me, Coach Gordon hadn't told me what his position was, but his name's Juan Ruiz. Juan came on, and he really was always there to help us with whatever myself, Coach Gordon, the ball players, anything anyone needed. He was always there to help. So please recognize Juan Ruiz. Juan, please come get the picture. Okay, the next person I've had the fortune of knowing for 2 years. For last year, I coached him in the junior varsity, and it was a delight. He was very productive, especially with the bat. I know he's extremely popular with his teammates. And this year, he spent the first half of the season in the junior varsity, and all the time I was pleading with Mr. Gordon, please take him, because this boy can hit the ball. He just flat out can hit the ball, hit anybody. And he came up, and he really was an asset. I think the first time we played in Jefferson over there in Ross Snyder Park, he came through with a hit or two, and never bat an eye, and just carried on from there. And I know I got a picture or two of him at bat in Dodger Stadium, and I'm sure he'll be very appreciative to have these pictures. George Barraza. As I said, I'm going in no particular order, but this next one is a person who was with the team every single game, I believe every single practice. She always came with a smile on her face. She always came in a good mood, practically every day. Hi, Morgan. I appreciate that. And she learned how to do her job very well, especially as the season carried on. Yesenia. This person, I've worked with him for 3 years. 2 years ago, he was a pitcher for me on the JVs, and he's what I call an Iron Mike. He always wanted the ball. His greatest asset 2 years ago, he didn't necessarily throw that hard, but he always put the ball over the plate, put it in the strike zone, and I wish that the teams that we had a couple of years ago could have provided him the defense that he deserved, because otherwise he would have won a significantly larger amount of ball games. But nonetheless, he should be proud of himself for his accomplishments. I'll always respect him for his performance on the field. Juan Guzman. Okay, now this person is a 9th grader, and I only spent maybe about 2 weeks, 3 weeks with the junior varsity. I didn't really get to know him very well. From what I saw, he's a very good glove man, and he kind of has the same kind of personality as his brother. I had his brother for 2 years, Oscar, and Oscar was a delight, so I guess the personalities run in the family. Since he's starting to start his 10th grade year, he has an awful lot of high school baseball to look forward to, and I'm sure he's going to gain some accolades and hopefully be on 3 more championship teams before he departs for college. Miguel Alcala. Okay, this envelope's filled up, but as it should be, because he's played for Mr. Gordon for 3 years. The main thing I see in this person is, for a 17-year-old, maybe an 18-year-old now, extremely mature. I've never seen this person be rattled. He always has himself composed, always very friendly. The way I see him treat the rest of his ball players, he always treats his teammates with a lot of respect, regardless of what his true emotions may be at any particular moment. Personally, I think he has the physical tools to go much further in baseball. He has to be sure that he does well in school. If he does well in school, then I think he's going to end up in a major college playing baseball. Alvaro Vaca. I've known this boy for 2 years now, and I've always considered him kind of shy, but as time has gone on now, I can see in his way that he's growing up, and even tonight he came in, "Hi Morgan," that's an improvement. I like to see that. As a ball player, he's got all the physical tools in the world. The main thing that he has to do is he has to be sure now, the next 2 years, especially starting right now in the fall, that he gets his academics together, because he could really go very far in baseball. Mr. Cardenas. Adrian, I'm sorry, I just got a little nervous there. Okay. This is another person I've known for 3 years. He's been, the one thing I want to say to him now, his loyalty to Mr. Gordon will never be forgotten on my part. He departed our school for a little bit to go to Lincoln High School, but especially as a 10th grader, he pitched very well for Coach Gordon, and I like this person because he's always joking around with me. "Hi Morgan, how's it going?" You know, he's just an overall good fellow. The main thing I want to say to this person though is, please be sure, David, that remember that talk we had about you and your father. I'm even bringing it up here. You make sure you keep your priorities in order, David, all right? Because that's where it's at for you. David Lopez. This ball player, he just came. He started out as a 9th grader in Roosevelt. Fortunate for all of us, he came over and decided he wanted to play for Garfield. I know that he pitched, he played right field, he played left field, he played a little bit of third base, and I know that he began the game in Dodger Stadium. I can remember there was a few times he had some really clutch hits at times when we really needed him to come through. The best part about this ball player is that he has 2 years left. Ruben Antelo. This ball player was a 9th grader. I guess he's a 10th grader now. I have a feeling either he's going to be playing shortstop or maybe playing in the outfield. Regardless, he's not so big in stature, but watching him over there, especially I can remember the day we were playing against LA High. He went up there at the end of the, I think it was actually in the middle of the game. He got a good hit against LA High, and I think he probably did very well for Mr. Gonzalez on the JVs. He has 3 years left, so he has a lot to look forward to. Fernando Almanza. This one will bring your spirits up. We were at Roosevelt was our second game in Roosevelt. We were playing Roosevelt. We were over there in Evergreen Park. It was getting towards the end of the game, and things weren't going very well. And I know I wasn't happy. I know Mr. Gordon wasn't happy. And I know Mr. Medina wasn't happy. Somehow, though, the kids just would refuse to let things get them down. We got to a situation where we had Mark Gonzalez up, and he pulled a ball down the left field line that rolled to the wall. And as far as I'm concerned, that changed our season at the time. And from that point on, the confidence, the attitude in the kids was miraculously improved. So that's the main thing. Of course, he's another guy you can tease this guy all the time. You can take any kind of joke. He's got a wonderful sense of humor, good personality. Mark Gonzalez. This ball player, he started as a 12th grade year. I've known him, had him 2 years in the JVs, and then he came up into the varsity halfway through. This is a person that I would call the personification of perseverance. When he began in 9th grade, he didn't really get hardly any playing time at all as a 9th grader. This guy never complained, never any problems. Mr. Gonzalez will attest to this. And he learned to hit. He really became a good hitter for the team. And things ended up turning his way. Fernando Montoya. This person has played for me for 2 years. Last year he was a pitcher in the JVs. This year he was a pitcher on the varsity. Another person who every day at practice, never any complaining, do whatever the coach asked him to do, got along with his teammates, and I wish him a lot of luck in the future. Sergio Gavan. Okay, this ball player came to our school from Jefferson High School 2 years ago. He played for Mr. Gonzalez and I as a JV last year. He was the MVP of our team on the JVs, and he made all league as a JV. He was our leadoff hitter. He was very productive for us. This year he did very well in the outfield. He got on base. He got a clutch hit against, I believe it was Southgate in our first Southgate game that really helped us a lot. He's a wonderful guy. Juan Mesa. Okay, this guy's another guy that myself, Mr. Gordon, always teasing him. And he'd always take a good joke. I know I would tease him on his height, on his stature, but what he may be lacking in height, he's got in the arm and he's got in the heart. And I know he's got 2 years left. Mr. Gordon says he's probably going to pitch for us next year. I think he has a lot of good things to look forward to in high school baseball. Hector Buenrostro. Okay, this person, this is another one. I used to tease him really throughout the season. I used to call him a Punch and Judy. I think he understands what that means. That's kind of a baseball joke. But he turned out towards the end of the season, he was no Punch and Judy. He was really hitting the ball with an awful lot of power. When we began the season, I certainly didn't know who Mr. Gordon was going to have to play third base since the person we had last year had graduated. But this person came in, and he more than fulfilled the role of Ricardo Mendez from last year. In fact, this person made All City, only as a 10th grader, so he has an awful lot to look forward to. Mr. Serratos. Okay, here's one. The envelope's full of pictures because, as it should be. He's a 12th grader. He's probably graduated by now. He played shortstop for Coach Gordon for 3 years, and I guess the way most people would know him would be by his dedication to always trying to improve. He's a wonderful student, and the thing that I want to let him know, Holly, is please be sure that You understand, Mr. Herbold has been a coach for many, many years, and he's going to be there to help you. Please give him your ear. Hali Sandoval. This person started out on the JVs as a catcher, and it's his first time with the Garfield baseball. I assume he did very well in the JVs because well, 3/4 of the way through the season he came up and became the catcher for us on the varsity, and that opened it up so that Fernando Duenas could go and play in the outfield, could pitch a little bit, and that's really what was very important to our team. He's got 2 more years left, I believe, to play baseball for us. Mr. Osuna. Okay, this person, I've known him for 3 years. He's played for Coach Gordon for the last 2 years as a pitcher. I have a lot of pictures here of him doing very well against Marshall High. He started out very well in the beginning of the season. I think he had a very good game against Bell High School. He's another guy that keeps a team loose, has a good personality, very, very lighthearted. Enrique Vargas. This person, I believe, is a 9th grader this year. He came to us. I want him to understand that I feel that, I told him all season, he has a wonderful swing, and he can play an awful lot of positions. He can play the outfield, he can pitch, and the main thing that I remember from him is we were playing Southgate in Belvedere Park. I believe he came up to pinch hit, and while Juan Mesa may have gotten a good hit against Southgate that day, Scooter, Otis Yet the third, really was the one who came through and clutched it out for us. Scooter, Otis Yet Jr. Okay, about 5 more. Okay, this person, he's played 2 years here. And he's played left field, I think he's played right field, maybe a little first base, but most of all, he's been a pitcher for us. Most of the season he didn't pitch, but then towards the end of the season when it was really important, he started up. The main thing I'm going to remember for this person though is when we were playing in Huntington Park in the playoff game, I believe we were behind in the first inning, and the other good ball player Huntington Park has Jose Castillo, the bases were loaded, hit a fly ball to left center field. Well, it didn't look good for us, especially if they had gotten up by 4 or 5 runs. You can't score a lot of runs against Jose Castillo. But out of the blue, as far as I'm concerned, that ball was caught. And to me, that was the second turning point in our season. Once he made that catch, I really felt we were going to win. We were going to beat Huntington Park, and I really wasn't worried about any of the other teams we were going to face after that. So my best memory of Leo Acevedo is that game in Huntington Park. Okay, well, I said I wasn't going in any particular order. I think it's fitting as for the ball players that I make this the last one. When you have most valuable player, valuable means valuable. Well, this person was very valuable to our team because for most of the season he was our catcher because we lost our catcher and we really needed someone to to come in and be the catcher. Well, then when Eric Osuna came up, Fernando Duenas was able to go and play right field. He was able to go in there to pitch, and of course he turned out to be our leadoff hitter. He always had it was a spark plug. He always had a lot of fire and an awful lot of desire, never willing to quit. And that he put that onto the rest of his teammates, and that's why they did the things that they did. So please clap your hands for Fernando Duenas. person, as Mr. Gordon acknowledged, last year I worked with him in the JV team, and he was very easy to work with. I tried to, show him. It was his first year. Showed him how to, how it goes, what things you need to know, what needs to do, and he caught on just like that. This coach is another coach who I think has an awfully good relationship with his ball players, and they want to play very hard for him. Coach Javier Gonzalez. Once again, this person came on, I would say, right at the beginning of the season, when we were right after we played Cal State LA. He came on and he helped us immensely. He came on as a pitching coach. He came on and really took on an awful lot of duties. I know the kids like playing for him, appreciate him very much. And as I had said, the things that he had done with our pitchers and catchers during the games was very valuable to this team. Coach Willie Medina. Okay, this is the last one, and once again, I hope the ball players and the parents realize that you're very fortunate to have the person you have here in Garfield. The reason being, not because of his knowledge of baseball, that you take for granted, but you've got to understand this is a coach who works very well with his ball players. I think the ball players are fond of him, and because of that they play harder for him. I just wanted to let him know that I respect the work that he does, and I thank him for letting me be a part of this team. Coach Bill Gordon. Okay, I wanted to say this at the beginning, but I'm a little nervous I didn't say it. This team, the ball players on this team, the coaches, we had a special situation with our team. I'm used to coaching in the JVs, where in the JVs, if you get 2 or 3 parents there, you're very fortunate. But see, on this team, we were all very fortunate because we had several parents, a multiple amount of parents, many parents who were there at every single game. I will never forget the barbecues. It's not just because of the barbecues, though. It's because of the time that you were always there. I could see the looks in your faces. You're there to support your sons, and because of that, it makes working with your sons that much easier. And really, the last thing I want to leave is the ball players on this team. If your parent, well, regardless of whether your parent was one of the ones that was there all the time or not, please be sure to let them know that you appreciated having them there at your games, because that made the whole thing more like a family affair than just a ball game. So for all the parents who came and did all the things for us, please clap your hands for them also. Thank you very much.
Okay, the food is coming now. We have a whole lot of awards to give out that we're going to give out after we eat. I did forget to make one announcement before that's very important. That's what the restrooms are. Up the stairs. To the right. I think it's out the door, up the stairs, and to the right. Anyway, the food's coming now. We do have a video. We were able to obtain one of our game at Dodger Stadium, and we'll be playing it while we eat.
No puede estar enojado ni dejar de hablar a Julio.
Plaques, and we'd like to start giving those out. Okay, we'd like to start off though with the JVs, and that's Coach Gonzalez. Coach Gonzalez, if you'd like to come up.
Yeah, before I start giving out any awards, I know that during the championship game at Dodger Stadium, we didn't get a chance to meet as a group, and I'm talking about we, referring to the varsity baseball team. So on behalf of the JV baseball team and on behalf of, I guess, anybody involved with us and by everybody I'm referring to, the assistant coaches, I would like to congratulate the varsity team, including the coaches, and especially the guys who, obviously because of the championship, demonstrated that they did perform to the top level as they could have, and they did. So again, congratulations, guys. Our first JV player I'm calling up here, I had a chance. I never did meet him when I was playing with his brother, but I do know that he comes from a great family. Both of his brothers that I know personally and his parents provide 100% support, not only to him but also to his teachers and to his coaches. I should point out that Miguel Alcalá, he is a part of the Garfield UPP program, and that's a prep program that in which Cal State LA pretty much guides the students throughout their high school years, and if they are able to complete the entire program, they receive automatic admission to Cal State LA. So first person, Miguel Alcalá, come up here please. Second person would be another member of the UPP program, and I will be bringing out some highlights of not only what they do on the field, but I think we should recognize that the people that we are recognizing here today are student athletes, and they are students first, and so that's one of the things that we do emphasize at Garfield. So again, Bernie Almanza could be one of our hardest workers, not only during game days, but also in practice. So Fernie, will you come up here and get your trophy? Next person, he really did not get much playing time during much of the year, but speaking with most of his teachers, the feeling's mutual, and that he is one of the most respectful students that you can come across. He will not complain about anything except for the fact that he wants to, obviously play as much as the next person. So Fernie Alvarado, I'm sure he's got 2 more years left. I'm sure you will get a little more playing time next year and the year following. People could accuse me of maybe getting on this guy's case a little too much. He is always on his back, but the reason I tend to do it would be, I see potential in this person, and I think if we all see it as coaches, if it wouldn't be there, I don't think he would have been playing at the varsity level and helping out Garfield winning a championship. So George Barras, will you come up here and get your trophy? Sorry to say, but the next person, he's not going to be with this team next year, and that's not because he's graduating, but Gonzalo, he realizes and recognizes his future. He is giving up baseball for for the academic side of his years at Garfield, and obviously you have to commend him for that. Gonzalo, will you come up here? I should point out Gonzalo was our team captain while he was there with the team. Next person, he might have been with us for maybe only 5-6 games. I think he is one of the people that I've come across with the worst leg in the world. I think he was going to get this first start of the year. He gets hurt. He hurts his ankle. After he recovers from that, he's ready to come back. What does he do? He goes plays basketball, breaks his wrist. During our summer league, we're short of people, and so I call him up. Hey Mario, we need somebody to help us out. He hits a double, slides into third base, sprains his ankle again. It's okay. He's 3 times that he's been playing, he's getting hurt. So Mario, will you come up here, please?
Lo vas a atropellar ahí.
Coach Morgan made a reference to this next person. He before the year started, he asked me, "Hey, Coach, am I going to get some playing time?" And that's because 2 years he had been playing with Coach Morgan. 2 years he didn't get much playing time. He was sitting on the bench, but that did not stop him from showing up every day to a practice. Always the right attitude, the right frame of mind. And again, I would like to make reference to Bernie Montoya. Again, great year, helped out the Banquet varsity. Our only and it's not a knock at him. Our only senior in the JV team. Funny story. I mean, it took me by surprise because of our purpose at the JV level, and that's to maybe develop some players to promote to the varsity. We really have to start with the young ones and stay with them. Once they reach their junior or senior year, we have to pretty much make a decision whether they stay with us, maybe sentimental reasons, or they're moved up, or plain simple, we just have to make room for the younger ones. I asked for his uniform for that same reason, that we had some good 9th graders. I did ask for his uniform. He handed it over to me. And, the next day, I don't know, maybe a lack of communication. The next day he shows up to practice, and it just showed me that he was willing to go out there and practice for the love of the game, even though he was not going to be getting a chance to play. Needless to say, he did get a uniform eventually after we lost some players during the year for reasons that need not to be mentioned. But Jesse Moreno, come up here, please. This next player, many times because of maybe the size of a person, we tend to expect a little more out of them than say the average. But he is, I would like to point out that he is one of the easiest persons to get along with. He also lives, and we'll make a point with the other awards. He is one of our most successful players in the classroom also. So Eric Osuna, come up here please. Also, one of the hardest workers we have in the team, always in practice. Maybe not with the best of baseball talent, but he's got everything going for him. Again, same as Eric, great work ethic in the classroom, a winner in the field and off the field. David Rodriguez, come up here please. Next person, younger brother of one of our varsity players. During the year, people make, not to offend, but many times they call him Jalei. In other words, making reference to his older brother. I know, being a younger brother, I really, do not want to be compared to. I want to identify myself, right? He's called Jalei not because he's a younger brother, but because of the work ethic, the same work ethic that Jalei shows on the field and in the classroom. It's the same work ethic that his younger brother takes with him. So, Angel Sandoval, will you come up here, please? Last but not least, another hard worker. I've had a chance to interact with him in and out of the classroom. I had him as a student and I have him as a player. Hopefully, I won't have him too much longer, right? Hopefully, he'll get the chance at the varsity level. But I mean, always going 100%. That's Luis Villalpando. Okay, that's the end of the individual trophies. Next, we're going to recognize the people that made all conference during this past year. First, the second team all conference, and I guess to a brief definition about this award, it is a recognition by all coaches for the accomplishments of each player. We don't really get a chance to see many players, meaning opposition players. We get 2 games, but in those 2 games we just, get a feel of who's performing a little bit above the rest. So the first second team member of the Southern Conference League would be Ramon Dueñas, who's not here. Luis Villalpando, come up here again, please. Our next second team recipient, Fernie Montoya. Fernando, up here, please. Now, the first teamers, the top 10 or 12 people of our conference, and a tough conference it is. First person up here, Eric Osuna. Next up, the first teamer, Fernando Almanza. third first teamer, George Barraza.
One more second.
Yeah, we have 2 sets of awards left. Normally for this next one, we we only identify one person, and that would be for the most valuable player award. In this case, we have full recipients, but that does not take away from the merits that other players did or their contributions to our team. After all, baseball is a team sport, and these 2 players did not carry the team, but they did provide more, a little more contribution than the rest. So I'll call both of you up here at the same time. Full MVPs, most valuable players of the JV team, George Barraza and Fernando Almanza. I'm leaving this last recognition, I'm leaving this recognition for last, and that's because I think this is what high school athletics it's all about. We have to recognize that not everybody makes it to the to a high level in sports. I have 5 people, 4 of them were able to make it. These 4 people, they pretty much have their priorities straight. They are performing on the field and they are performing in the classroom. First person I'm going to call up here, I'll make reference to the ones that were not able to make it, and that's Javier Ochoa, who received a 3.5 GPA in the classroom and took I think 2 AP classes, and he, along with Gonzalo, will not be joining us next year for that reason. His academic schedule just does not allow him to be on Belvedere Park 3-4 hours a day. And also Max Sotelo, who received a 4.0, and that's the highest GPA in our team here. But the ones that aren't here, first one up here, and I already made a note of it, Angel Sandoval with the 3.67 GPA. Our next recipient of the Student Athlete Award with a 3.67 GPA, Eric Osuna. And the last of our Student Athlete Awards goes to a person who not only this year, but also last year, and I really don't have the exact GPA from last year, but this year we're 3.87. Last year I'm positive that it was 3.87 or 4.0. But that would be David Rodriguez. And that wraps it up. Again, one more hand for all the JV players from this past year.
Okay, now it's time for the varsity part of the program, and I'm sure that all the players are waiting to get their rings. Well, guess what? You can wait a little longer. We have other awards first. Okay, I have a lot of appreciation awards I'd like to give out. Appreciation meaning thank you for helping us out in many different ways. The first two people I'd like to call up here to get one of these appreciation awards are my assistant coaches, Terry Morgan and Willie Medina. I don't know if you know this, but both of these men up here, they came at it for free. They didn't get a dime for work. You know, Coach Gonzalez, he made about 8 cents an hour. I think I got the big bucks. I got a dime an hour. Now, these guys worked free. And really, all the time they put in and all the help they gave us, I really think it was just a really integral part of our winning that championship. Without them, I don't think we could have done it. So to both of the coaches up here, Coach Morgan, Coach Medina, a little token of our appreciation. We also had some people from Garfield. I'm talking about teachers, administrators, people also are very supportive of our program. And we'd like to thank you also because you did take care of us when we needed things. You were there for us. When we needed help, you would help us out. And again, it's just a way of saying thank you for everything you've done for us this year. Okay, that's first person I'd like to call up here is Mr. Otis Yett, our athletic director. Dr. Cheryl Barkovich, our administrator in charge of athletics. And also we have another one to our #1 fan. Yeah, it's you, Sharon Castro. We also had a lot of parents that were out at our games really helping us out. Win or lose, they were out there for us. I'll never forget all those home games. Win or lose, we ate. Again, thank you to those parents. And again, it's just something that really touched me because all the years I've been coaching, I've never seen anything like the parents we had out here. Okay, the first set of parents I'd like to bring up here to get their award, Mr. and Mrs. Enrique Duenas. Next we have Mrs. Virginia Antello. Mr. and Mrs. Alvaro Baca.
Que yo no voy, la tita de conmigo. Estaba la
Next is Mrs. Margarita Serranos. Y Mr. and Mrs. Hector Buenrostro. Okay, next, I don't think that he is present, but his son is Mr. Antonio Gonzalez. Mark Gonzalez. Mr. and Mrs. Manuel Vargas. And Mr. and Mrs. Angel Guzman. Again, thank you so much for being there since the beginning of the season all the way up through the end. It was appreciated. We're changing the film, which will give me a little bit of time to talk. Looking back at the season, 1997 was a great year for Garfield baseball. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but we were the first team to ever play at Dodger Stadium. 1956, 41 years ago, when Garfield won their last city championship, there was no Dodger Stadium. Dodgers were in Brooklyn. We set a school record this year with 24 wins. We also placed 4 players on the All-City team, including the Player of the Year. The only disappointment I think I had as a coach was that we did not repeat as conference champions, but I'll take a city championship any day. Our season began on March 1st. We started off in the Hamilton tournament, and we lost to LA High School 15-14. Yeah, that was a game that we were really sloppy. We made 5 errors. Our pitchers walked 16 batters. We left 11 runners on base, and honestly, I thought we were going to be in for a very long year. Okay, we rebounded. We won our next 3 games, and then we played a team called Huntington Park in the semifinals of that tournament. Yeah, their pitcher was a guy named Jose Castillo that we would get to know quite well later on. Yeah, they beat us 2-1 in the first of 5 meetings. We opened our conference season against Bell. Enrique Vargas pitched a 2-hitter. We shut them out 9-0, and we thought we were ready to roll. But our second game was against Huntington Park, and the pitcher Jose Castillo. We got beat again, 2-1. We took a week off for Easter break. We actually started off in 2 tournaments on that Saturday. We opened up in the Redondo tournament, beating Narbonne. We came back that night to beat Hamilton in that RBI tournament. We won our next 2 RBI games, and we played in the semifinals against Huntington Park. The results were the same. We lost. We came back to conference, and we lost a game to Roosevelt. That was really a game I thought we had the worst luck of anybody I ever saw. Bad hop singles, missed scoring opportunities, 13 runners left on base. Really, it was a game that we'd like to forget. But again, as baseball is a very funny game and things change, we played Southgate the next following Thursday. That was probably one of the most exciting games I've seen as a coach. We came from behind and won that game 12-11. Yeah, that started a 7-game winning streak for us. Among those 7 games that we won was a win over Carson, which was later to be the #1 team in the 4A division. We beat them. Okay, the streak ended with a loss to Bell. We lost another one to Miracosta in the Constellation. I take it back in the semifinals of the Redondo tournament. We came back to conference with the game against Huntington Park, and guess what happened? We got beat. Jose Castillo, 3rd time out, 3rd time he beat us. I think this guy had our number. It looked like nothing we could ever do would work out right against him. Anyway, we ended our 3-game losing streak with a come from behind win over Roosevelt. We met South Torrance in the finals of the Constellation finals of the Redondo tournament. Even though we lost that game to South Torrance, it was a very pivotal game for us. The reason being is that's when we made the decision, it's time to bring up those 5 JV players that we did bring up with us. Okay, we said as soon as the JVs got done playing Southgate, they were ours. Okay, once we brought them up, I think you know what happened. We never lost again. We finished our regular season with a 20-win, 10-loss record. We got seeded number 8 in the playoffs. We opened up at home. We routed a very strong Verdugo Hills team, 13-1. In that game, Leo Acevedo pitched a complete game. Ruben Antello hit 2 triples, drove in 4 runs to lead us to the victory. Our next game matched us against #1 seeded Huntington Park, and you know the pitcher, Jose Castillo. Well, things were different this time because we were a different team. Fernie Duenas finally got a chance to pitch against them, something that not too many Huntington Park players remembered, that last year he pitched against them, he shut them out. Well, we figured he could do it again, and he just about did. Fernie threw a 2-hitter. We won it 2-1. We knocked off the #1 seed. He right there, in my mind and the other coach's mind, we were going to win city. Okay, one thing about that game, though, that I will never forget, besides Fernie's great pitching game, was the catch. I'm talking about the catch by Leo Acevedo in the first inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Batter hit one out there. I mean, I saw the ball go. I was already thinking, what am I going to do on my vacation on Monday? There's no way we can practice. We're not. Somehow Leo caught that ball. That turned the game, and again, we won the game 2-1. We went to the semifinals against LA. LA beat us in the first game of the season, and honestly, I wanted a rematch, and so did all the players and the coaches. We knew that they couldn't beat us again. Okay, Leo Acevedo got 3 hits in that game and drove in 3 runs. also got the win in relief as we routed LA 10-4. On May 28th, we met number 2 seeded Washington at Dodger Stadium for the city championship. I think you know what happened. We became the first Garfield team since 1956 to win the city championship. Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, it is now time to give out the rings and other awards. Yeah, I'm going to need the coaches and Mr. Yet and Dr. Barkovich to help me on this. Okay, when I call your name to come up, one of the coaches, Mr. Coach Medina, will be giving out the letters. One thing about us at Garfield, we give you the actual letter. Most schools just give you a piece of paper and say, hey, that's it. We're going to give you the actual chenille letter that they used to give out 30 years ago. Okay, Coach Morgan will assist us by giving out certificates. This can prove that you really were a member of the team. Okay, Coach Gonzalez. Will help us by giving out the warranties on the rings. Okay, one thing about the rings, when you get them, they are guaranteed, they're warranted for life. If they scratch or if anything happens to them, you can get them fixed, replaced, whatever, free of charge. Don't lose this card. Okay, Dr. Barkovich and Mr. Yet, they're going to shake your hands. They got a pretty easy job too. And I'll be up here to give out the rings. Okay, we're going to go in alphabetical order, which means Otis Yet, you're last. Okay, the first person I want to bring up here to get their ring is Leo Acevedo. Okay, Leo was a sophomore pitcher outfielder. He led the team with a .409 batting average. Some of his other accomplishments, he drew 22 walks, tops on the team. He drove in 26 runs, scored 24 runs. He was tied for the team lead in triples with 5. He led our pitchers with 7 wins and a 2.32 ERA. He was also the winning pitcher in 3 playoff games. This year, he earned all city honors. Leo Acevedo. Okay, the next player is Miguel Alcala. Miguel was a freshman infielder. He was one of the 5 JVs that we brought up to strengthen the varsity, and we expect him to be a very important part of the varsity program next year. The next player is Fernando Almanza. Fernando was a freshman infielder, also one of 5 JVs that we brought up to strengthen the varsity. He actually got to start one of the playoff games. He started the semifinal game against LA High School. We also expect him to be a very important part of next year's team. Next is Ruben Antello. Ruben was a sophomore outfielder pitcher. He was a transfer from Roosevelt High School where he played against us last year. He made the choice to come here, which I think was a very good choice for both him and I. He hit .306 with a team high 30 RBIs. He tied for the team lead with 5 triples. He was also the starting pitcher in the championship game against Washington at Dodger Stadium. This year he was selected to the second team all-conference team. Next was George Barraza. George was a sophomore designated hitter. He was one of the 5 JVs that we brought up to strengthen our varsity. And since his promotion, he started every game as our DH. In a short time, he got 6 hits and 6 RBIs and really helped us out. Next is Hector Buenrostro. Hector was a sophomore outfielder. He started last year as a freshman. This year he batted .286, and he really proved his value as a bunter. He was really probably the best bunter we had on that team in certain situations. Okay, he also showed his power for a little guy when he cracked a home run over the wall at Redondo against Carson. Okay, Hector Buenrostro. Okay, next is Adrian Cardenas. Adrian was a junior second baseman. Adrian was batting .257 with 18 hits, 16 RBIs, and 20 runs scored before he missed the last third of the season. Okay, his play, though, did help us get to the playoffs. And again, it was getting to the playoffs, which is what got us that championship, just getting them. Next we have Fernie Duenas. Fernie was a senior outfielder, pitcher, catcher. Last year he was a returning all-conference outfielder who played catcher most of this season. This year he batted .394 with 20 RBIs. He was the team leader in several categories. In runs scored with 35, hits with 43, home runs with 3, stolen bases with 28. He was also 3-0 as a pitcher with a 2.51 ERA. And again, his big game was that 2-hitter against HP, which knocked him out of the playoffs. This year, he was selected not only All-City, but All-City Player of the Year. Pretty wonderful. Next, we have Sergio Galvan. Sergio was a senior pitcher. This year he did pitch sparingly, but he was always there willing to help out. He was a very important part of our team. Next, Mark Gonzalez. Mark was a sophomore second baseman. He was a 2-year varsity player. He became a starter when Adrian was forced to miss the last third of the season. This year he got 2 hits all year, but one of them was a real big one. It was that bases-loaded triple that beat Roosevelt, and it's one that we won't forget. Next we have Juan Guzman. Juan was a senior pitcher. He was a 2-year varsity player. He led the team in innings pitched with 60. He also led the team with 5 complete games. He had an ERA of 2.92 and won 6 games. He also threw a no-hitter against Jefferson. He was also one of our captains. Next we have David Lopez. David was a senior pitcher. He was a 3-year varsity player. This year he pitched a 2-hitter against Narbonne, last year's city runner-up. Glad to see David Lopez here. Next we have Juan Meza. Juan was a junior outfielder. He batted .295 and scored 15 runs as a role player. He did lead the team in one category, being hit by pitch. And he also scored the winning run against HP in the playoffs. It's another run that he won't forget. Next we have Fernando Montoya. Fernie was a junior first baseman. He was also one of the 5 JVs that we brought up. He should be challenging for a starting position next year on the varsity. Next is Eric Osuna. Eric is a sophomore catcher. He was also one of the 5 JVs that we brought up to help the varsity. He became an immediate starter at catcher, which allowed us to free Fernie Duanes to do other things. Okay, his biggest game on the varsity was against LA High School in the semifinals. He got 3 hits, including the tie-breaking, or actually he hit in the tie-breaking run that led to a 6-run inning as we routed LA 10-4. Next we have Holly Sandoval. Holly was a senior shortstop. He was a 3-year starter. Last year he made the All-City team, was also Conference Player of the Year. This year he batted .298 with 19 RBIs and scored 34 runs. Also stole 16 bases. Okay, he was our team leader. He was like just the example that we want to show people of someone who would give 100% at all times. Okay, this year he was selected to the second team All-Conference team. Next is Edgar Serratos. Edgar's a sophomore third baseman. He was a transfer from Lincoln High School, where last year he played mainly on the JV team. Luckily for us, he decided to transfer over to Garfield. This year he batted .354 with 20 RBIs. He scored 22 runs. In the championship game, he really established himself. He got 2 hits, scored 2 runs, got 2 RBIs. This year he was selected to the All-City team. Next we have Alvaro Vaca. Alvaro is a senior first baseman. He was a 3-year starter. He made the All-City team last year. This year he batted .376 with 28 RBIs. He collected 41 hits and scored 34 runs. He also led the team with 15 doubles. He also was selected to the All-City team. Alvaro Lopez. Next is Enrique Vargas. Enrique Vargas was a junior pitcher. This year he appeared in 15 games. He had 3 wins and 2 saved. He also pitched 2 two-hitters this year. He had an ERA of 2.82. He made honorable mention all conference. Okay, the last of our players, Otis Yet III. Also known as Scooter Yetton. Scooter was a freshman outfielder. He was used mainly as a pinch runner. The one game he will probably never forget was the game against Southgate when he came in as a pinch hitter, got a hit that tied the game, and we went on to win it 12-11. Actually, we do have another ring to give out, and that's to our scorekeeper, Yesenia Gomez. Yesenia attended all our games, all our practices. I know at the beginning of the year when she started keeping a score, I'd take the book home, and the first thing I'd say to myself, what did she write down? She got better as the year went along, and she was a very important part of our team as well. You see? We have another person who also helped out our team, although they're not going to get a ring, they are going to get a certificate to show that we do appreciate what they did. And that's Juan Ruiz. Juan Ruiz helped with equipment. He helped with equipment at all our home games, and some of our tournament games, and all of our playoff games. And so we do want Juan to know that we do appreciate him. You know, I was just looking in our box, I found another ring. Where did this come from? Yeah, this is a ring that I hope this person had no idea they were going to get. We did want to make it a surprise. And this is to our greatest fan for the last 3 years, Sheriff Castro. Sharon got very close to many of our players, was always willing to work with them and help them with their problems. She did make a promise, if we get to Dodger Stadium, I'll take you guys to dinner. Well, we figured it'd be Burger King, but maybe if we wanted to be someplace better. And I do remember that night at Claim Jumpers where she made good on her promise, so we want to say thank you. Here's something from us. We also have some other awards to give out, the All-League, All-City, and then some event individual awards. I'd like to start out with the All-Conference awards. We had 3 players make first-team All-Conference, 3 players make second-team All-Conference, 1 player make honorable mention. Okay, as I call your name up, I'd like you to come up here and get your certificate. Those who made first and second team will also be getting trophies. Okay, honorable mention all conference, Enrique Vargas. Second team all conference, Ruben Antelo.
Hace de coche con Mario.
Second team all conference, Ali Sandoval.
Sí, se acostumbra. Ya después. No más que últimamente.
And second team all conference, Edgar Serratos.
Me llevo un sándwich o con burrito, o como tacos.
Okay, first team all conference, Alvaro Vaca. Leo Acevedo.
Estaban los costados, yo estuve a 5,000, pero ya.
Fernie Dueñas.
Yo me ganaba uno cada 2 semanas.
So we also had 4 players make the all-city team. It was funny, when I was out in the valley, I never had 1 player make all-city. I come to Garfield and I get 4 this year. Okay, the first player I'd like to bring up here, Edgar Serratos. Very ironic, Edgar made second team all conference, but first team all city. Leo Acevedo. Alvaro Vaca. Finally, Player of the Year, Fernie Dueñas. Okay, we also have certain individual awards that we want to give out that we would like to do right now. One of those awards is for the Rookie of the Year. Now, what's a rookie? By definition, a rookie is someone who's in their first season playing at the major league level. We don't have a major league level in high school, so we call it at the varsity level. Okay, this year's Rookie of the Year made a very eye-opening debut. He made the All-City team his first year. Okay, this guy batted .354. He was a great defensive player, had a great championship game, and I'm sure glad he left Lincoln. Rookie of the Year, Edgar Serrato. Next is our most improved player. This player showed last year that he could pitch, but he couldn't hit his weight. Last year he had 205. I think he got 4 hits all year. Really, he didn't do much with the bat at all. This year he showed again that he could pitch, but more than that, he showed he could hit the ball. He brought his average up over 200 points. As a pitcher, he won 7 games. As a batter, he hit .409 and led the team. He was also a great defensive player, as was evidenced by that catch at Huntington Park. Our most improved player, Leo Acevedo. Okay, we also have 2 Coaches Awards. Coaches Award can be given out for a lot of things. I think the 2 people that got this award really set the foundation 3 years ago when they started out as 10th graders. Both were team leaders in different ways. One was fiery and very outgoing. One was quieter and just went out and did his job. But both had very high work ethics and would always give 100% when they were on the field. Both of them were a coach's dream to have. Both exemplified what a championship is all about. And I mean that because I know that after the game with Washington, I saw these guys cry and they were happy. Coaches Awards this year go to both Alvaro Baca, Ali Sandoval. Finally, our team most valuable player. This person sacrificed himself for the good of the team when he decided that we needed a catcher. He would catch even though he was probably our best outfielder. He helped us with his aggressive style of play. His style of play won a lot of games for us that maybe we shouldn't have won. He stole 28 bases, scored 35 runs, got 43 hits. Again, as a pitcher, he threw that 2-hitter against Huntington Park that knocked him out of the playoffs. He also made a great running catch at Dodger Stadium that killed their rally, or killed Washington's rally in the 7th inning. This guy really came a long way, and again, he deserved Player of the Year. Our MVP, Freddie Duenas. That concludes our awards banquet, but I'd just like to have just a few things to say. One is thank you for coming. Okay, without you, we could not have had a successful banquet. And I'm also glad that every varsity player was here, because this might be the last time we get to see each other, all in the same place. Okay, to the seniors that are graduating, I wish you luck. Whether that be in baseball or in other things in life, just don't ever forget this year. 1997 Garfield baseball, this is what it's all about. Okay, to the juniors, the sophomores, the freshmen, I just got one thing to say, let's do it again next year.
Yo tengo un...
That's cheers and it's cheers.
It was very hard.
I'll tell you, Claire's did a great job.
They shouldn't even wear your rings today. That was so good.
Thank you.
You earned it. You earned it.
I earned it. I didn't consider it work. Oh, thank you.
You got pictures?
Esto es already valid. Years I posted, I never got
Okay, for those of you that are interested, the photographer for Dodger Stadium will be out there by the door with some of the pictures that he took from Dodger Stadium. Okay, if you want to see them and maybe get a few, you can see him before you leave.
Can we have